Welcome to Tiger Talks Wrestling. This is your host, Tony. And to start things off, I just wanted to mention one item that I find that I'm pretty passionate about that WWE likes to do. I've got my little Connor's Cure bracelet on, and I just wanted to plug that here for a minute. It's a great cause, in my opinion, that WWE does with Connor the Crusher. If you go to WWE.com, you can learn more information about it, but it's for Pediatric Cancer Awareness Month. And if you could help out in any way, just go to WWE.com and they find all the information on there to help out. With that being said, I would like to introduce my guest today. He is the VTW YouTube champion, D-Lock.
Oh yeah, it's me. It's the D with the lock.
Well, welcome to the show, D-Lock.
Thank you very much, Tony. Glad to be on the show.
Glad to have you.
Even though I should have been the first person, but it's okay. It's totally okay. I'll let you slide this time.
I appreciate that. We got you on before some other big names, so that should hopefully help out a little.
Just a little bit.
So if you want to talk about it, there's only two other guys from VTW that's been on the show so far. But
yeah, one is a colored man.
He is.
The next one is my brother, my friend.
Yep, and we'll delve into that topic here in a little bit. Well, actually, it'll kind of segue into the beginning part of this. What would you say were your backyard wrestling origins? What got you involved in backyard wrestling?
Oh, man. I don't, well, I think it all started in right before high school. Me and Dustin and a couple other guys, we was all friends. We all watched wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And we all, it all started walking to our friend's house, and he had a trampoline, and we just started wrestling and recording them for fun. We never posted them or anything. And then we had started a little company, OSW, and but it wasn't about 5-6 guys, and we had, it wasn't much.
Right.
Just behind a house, and trampoline, couple posts, and water hoses, ropes. Nothing special, but it still meant a lot.
Right. Yeah, to that.
And then I don't know. I always watched wrestling as a kid, and I just got into it. I just loved watching it, and Dustin, he watched it. He kind of got me into it and influenced me to do it. He had told me that, I didn't think I was, the best. I wasn't obviously the greatest. And Dustin saw something in me, and everything else just took its toll. And now here I am in VTW, and it's just it's something that makes me happy, and I love doing still.
And that's a great thing to feel that way toward what you do as a passion, pretty much. Who would you say were influences that you might have had from wrestling that really got you into wanting to do backyard wrestling?
Oh man, I was me watching wrestling. I was always the Rock fan. He always would make me smile. It was just funny.
Right.
Stone Cold, Chris Jericho, all them guys, Ric Flair, it was just, something. It was something about, and and now that I'm older, I'll rewatch the Attitude Era
Right.
because I never got to watch that as I mean, I did, but I was like one.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know, and watching Raw with Eric Bischoff, and it's just, I think that's what kind of got me into it. It was like, I think I can do that,
Yeah.
and then I realized that it's harder than it looks,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and that is that a lot of it is, you know, it is real. I mean, you know, it's you get hit. I mean, you don't get hit all the time, but you get what I'm saying. But
Right.
the weapons and all that stuff, that's real. I
Right.
mean, you can't fake that.
No, you can't.
But and that's just what got me into it. And and Dustin, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
he's one that got me into it. And those were my influences.
All right. So you didn't really? Did you ever really watch any backyard wrestling before you got in?
I, I did. I watched. I didn't start watching it until I did backyard.
Yeah.
I watched a lot of OSW, and that was just like, what the heck, And that was
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, they're crazy.
Right.
And then I just and then I found out VTW, and I watched them. I was like, I really like them. And then when I joined,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I started watching a lot. I just kept watching and watching, just random people,
Right.
to see what, and there's just a big variety out there. There's so much now
It's true.
than it was back in the day.
Yeah.
And it just amazes me of how many people do it now.
Right. Now, one of the first, I guess, major storylines pretty much you were involved in when you did get into VTW was joining JHI. What?
Yeah, that was the big one.
Yeah. What is your opinions of that little venture as part of JHI with
Oh,
Dustin and Joe and Diablo?
oh man, yeah. I had. Here's the funny story. I had went up there. Me and Dustin was going for a recording,
Mm-hmm.
and he had asked them to bring me because he had told him that I used to be a wrestler, and I had quit. I
Gotcha.
couldn't do it no more. I had, I was playing baseball,
Right.
and that's my first sport,
Mm-hmm.
and wrestling was always, there behind it,
Yeah.
and I had, I couldn't do it no more, and so Dustin invited me up there. I was like, oh, I'll go up there. I mean, I love watching it, and I'll have a good time. And they had brought me up one weekend, and I'd watched. I was like, wow, I can't. This itch, I wanted to do it again. It made
Right.
me want to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, is there any way that I could, I guess try out and show you what I could do. And so they let me, try out. I worked with Dustin. Obviously, he's the most comfortable person I can work with.
Right.
And I showed out, and they were like, "Wow, all right." And so, that they just put me in the Christmas Chaos Battle Royal,
Mm-hmm.
2015, first thing ever.
Yep.
And I did. I mean, I showed out, and so I joined JHI, and it was something fun, and I loved it, and I was glad I was back.
Right. From there, well, part of JHI, if I remember correctly, you did win the X Factor Championship that I guess is now defunct or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, whatever it is, I don't know what it is.
Right.
It's somewhere.
It's, I would say when you were the X Factor champion, probably was the, in my opinion, greatest reign that anybody had with that title in VTW, in my opinion. Um, After you dropped that title, it became a joke, in my opinion, as well. So,
and I was I was like, it was the X Factor title, but I wanted it to really mean something.
Right?
I mean, even though it was a small title, I really wanted it, to mean something. And so,
Yeah.
they just didn't have, I guess, we didn't have the roster size. And
Yeah.
so we didn't get to, I guess I never, I mean, I thank you for telling me that was a great run, but I never defended it. Like I didn't have the opportunity to.
Not as often,
And
but
that's what killed me. And I don't blame them. It's hard to do it with the roster we had back then. But
compared to what
now
they
it's
got now,
like,
right?
yeah, now it's like, whoa, like what do we do?
Right.
And so and what we have now, I don't think we should bring it back. You know, it's in the past. Just put it
Right.
up there. But I mean, I wouldn't mind it. You know, it coming back and us now. But as long as they could do something with it, then I
Yeah.
would be happy.
Don't just do that 24/7 rule that they
Yeah,
did with it before it
I'm
disappeared.
not going to talk about that. I'm not going
Yeah.
to talk about that.
Let's not. Like I said, it made it a joke pretty much. Um, but from there, we've seen you progress quite a bit through VTW's ranks. I would say, um, from JHI's disbanding, and let's go into a little of Best in the Yard too. Um, you were supposed to team up with Dustin Reagan to face TOP. We all know Dustin was unable to make it for that, and that was a great and very gutsy performance that you had against both Rick Rios and TJ Sakara, and almost pulled it out in that handicap match. Um, from there, we did see a feud between you and Dustin Reagan that was quite the journey in VTW programming.
That what was so great about that, and I and I get Dustin. He couldn't. There was other reasons,
Yep.
and I it's what it is. What it is. But
Right.
you know when I got that opportunity to be at Best in the Yard, I was it did give me cold chills. Like it's just something that it's backyard, but it's still like it meant something to me,
Right.
and all them people watching, and I come out and I was shaking, like I was like, I got the jitters, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm performing in all in front of these people that I don't know. I don't know any of them.
Right.
I barely knew them at all,
Mm-hmm.
and went out there, and the chemistry was there. We had fun, and don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. If I could do it again now, I would. I would totally beat them. But you know,
Right.
TJ had to come in and do his whatever. But
Right.
I forgive him now. But
Yeah.
then that, and then it led perfectly straight into me and Dustin's rivalry, and
Mm-hmm.
that friendship and brotherhood that was tore apart, and then just us beating the living hell out of each other
Right.
each
And
pay-per-view, and
yeah.
it was just it was crazy.
Yeah, I would have to say they were probably the best matches on those pay-per-views, or close to it, if not, in my opinion. Um, just you and Dustin seem to bring out the best in each other, is what it looked like in that feud. Which isn't surprising, because that's what happens with a lot of friends that compete in wrestling. Um, but during that feud, Zach Daniels was pretty much inserted into it a little bit there. As at last year's Mania, Zach did win a triple threat match. What? It was Mania, right? Yeah. Triple threat match to win the YouTube Championship. Which kind of would come full circle this year. Because it would be you taking the YouTube title off of Zach Daniels. Which, yep.
the greatest. That was probably one of the best moments of my life.
Now, there was some people would say shady things that centered around you taking the title off of Zach, but you guys had put on a very good performance before you
Well,
cashed in the briefcase winner. So,
there was no shady things. It was me evolving myself. It was me, turning into the person that I really should have been.
gotcha. Yeah, it was. I will say this: anybody else, pretty much in that situation after Zach had been taken out by Yankee and Rick Rios, I would think a lot of people, if not everybody, would have done the same exact thing you did. When you got a briefcase, you can cash it in on a champion, no matter what champion at any time. Why not cash it in on somebody vulnerable?
Hey, I tried to help him.
Right?
I
You
tried to
did.
get them out. You know, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
They threw me out. I'm not gonna complain. I took the opportunity. Even Zach told me himself. He said he'd have done the same thing. So
All right. So I don't can't really fault you in that one when even Zach said he would have done the same thing. Um, but from there, your guys' feud would pretty much end at Mania this year in that last man standing match. Another very, very good match, in my opinion. Um, we did see you come out on top of a very brutal match. What did you think of that match? What was your opinions?
I mean, anything with Zach, I love it because you know we've ever since the first time we actually we worked on a vindication. I don't remember which one because there's so many.
Right?
But it was it was the vindication before Fury. One of
Okay.
them. It was one of the two, and that was my first time working with him, and then we just it clicked and we had it, and so I was glad they put us back together,
Mm-hmm.
for the title, and then we kept going and going and going and going, and then finally, it's last man standing. It's where it ends, and
Yeah.
we go out there, we beat the hell out of each other, and I come out on top. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I give the man credit. He doesn't give up, and he is, he may not be the center,
Right.
but I give him props. He made the YouTube title what it was, but I decided to change it and make it even better.
Yeah. I'd agree with both of those sentiments. Even the look of the titles, even more professional, I would say, now than what the old version was. And the YouTube Championship, to me, could main event any VTW event, not just the VTW World title, whether not just because you're the one holding it, but just the way that both you and Zach before you have elevated it, in my opinion, has made it so it could main event a show if need be. So then from there, we have seen that you have joined the Murder Club more recently. What what brought about that decision?
Mm-hmm. Well, you know, after the whole situation at with Yankee coming out, and
Mm-hmm.
doing what he did to Zach, and he had come up to me not too long after that and apologized to me and had made me an offer that really I couldn't refuse.
Right.
And when you're the outlaw and there's money involved, he's gonna come and he's gonna collect it. So he had offered me, you know, to join Murder Club, and I said, hell, why not? And so you seen it best in the yard. I
Yep.
come out, I helped him, and then we have now just evolved to brotherhood, and it's you know Yankee, Rick, Dirty to Chico, Evan, all them guys.
Right.
and it's just a brotherhood now. And now it's, it's the biggest, I guess I call it the gang,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just who's going to stop us.
Right. It's not going to be easy for anybody to stop you guys if anybody ever gets a chance to. Um, we don't see the Murder Club together on screen very often, but when we do, you definitely know what you're seeing. So definitely know why to mess with them, in my opinion. But since you brought it up, next topic I wanted to go into was, well, let's lead into it. The Jackson Hendricks actually started messaging you and sending videos out to challenge you to a match at Best in the Yard 3.
And this all started, it was, I had watched him, and,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw so much potential in that kid. And so, and I kept watching and watching. I was like, man, if this kid was really, if he was in a ring, he could do so much,
All
and
right.
I understand what he's going through up there. That he can't, can't afford it, but
Mm-hmm.
I wanted, and the reason I wanted him for Best in the Yard was that I wanted to bring in new people that can showcase their talents
Right.
that they don't really know about in a ring,
Mm-hmm.
and just go out there and show out. And and so he had messaged me, and you know I was like, I don't know, this kid's worth my time, and so we had uh and he kept irritating and irritating, irritating. This was all, just a story. But
Right.
uh and so I'd finally come back, and I was like, all right, you want it, you got it, and then Chase coming in and kind of just kind of blaming Jackson to being his antagonist,
Right.
and it was just falling right into my trap, to get him in.
Mm-hmm.
And so he finally come in, and triple threat match, amazing, amazing match. I
It
loved it.
was.
And then after that, you know, Chase comes in. It's just the right moment. Bam, get toasted. Just it's something that when I do that, and you see somebody in the background going crazy, it's like it makes me feel good. I finally
Right.
have something that people can catch on to.
Yeah.
And I love Jackson. He's my best friend off screen, and
Mm-hmm.
I love for him to come back down again, and we can go at it, one more time.
Right.
That kid does have a lot of talent.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Jackson. He pretty much proved that he can hang with you guys and probably quite a few other guys in the ring in that match. Um, I thought out of you three, he stole the show compared to you and Chase. Nothing against you guys, but he caught my eye quite a bit in that match. I had seen a little bit of his videos before that, but that triple threat match, he impressed me. I'll give him that much.
You just got to watch out for him, man. I mean, he's got big things coming, big
I've seen.
things, and that kid he can do it.
I look forward to seeing what he can do. No, just what he did at Best in the Yards got me more invested and more interested in watching what he's doing in his own company. So I'm sure that's part of the point too. But bringing in these guys. But from Best in the Yard, we have seen, well, Chase Bridges has been a little busy between you and Aaron Jones, but one of the most recent vindications, he did take Mr. Toaster and poured a liquid beverage into it. So with, yeah. in which we haven't seen you back on Vindication or VTW programming since then to discuss about.
You know, he did something. He did something that that was the worst. That was the worst mistake of his life. It was the worst mistake of his life because I decided to, I had to take her to the hospital. Uh, she needed treatment, and after that, I was like, you know what, we're going on vacation. Not even coming quite right.
Yep.
Not even doing it. I said, I'm taking care of my toaster. I went on vacation, Panama City, Florida, for the hurricane. I ain't scared of no hurricane. Hurricane don't fear me. Nothing fears me. Uh, and get back. I watched his match at Quiet Riot. I told him if he could prove himself, he might get a shot. But he didn't prove himself. So I don't. You know, maybe I just come back, and just beat his face in a little bit, and then I just don't think he deserves a match with me. Not right now.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can see where you're coming from in that aspect. I mean, I suppose that his blame is that Aaron held the trunks to win the match, but still, I wasn't. I personally wasn't too impressed by Chase's performance in that match. So against Aaron at Quiet Riot, so I can see where you're coming from in that one. Now we have seen a couple new faces debut recently in VTW as well. Um, is there any one of these newer faces that you've got an eye on?
I tell you, mm, there's some new guys I'm watching. I'm watching them. I'm watching them very slowly. I'm not gonna say who, but and there's gonna be some more people coming
I've
very
heard.
soon. And so just keep your eye out. They're gonna be hungry and they're gonna be wanting, that big opportunity. And if I see something, who knows? Maybe I'll give them a visit.
Fair enough. So I want to know from you. I've got my favorite. Is there a specific match or feud that you've enjoyed the most since you've been in BTW that you've been in?
Oh man.
If you
Uh,
could choose one.
I've been, it's like I haven't been in any, but I have, and it's
Right?
so hard because I love every feud that I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
I love all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if I have to pick one, it's got to be Dustin because, I mean, me and him, it's just something about us, where we go out there, we kill it, and we can put on a show,
Right?
and just tell a wonderful story.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that that was just one of the best times that I've had. And if we could have done it in the ring, that'd have been awesome.
Right?
I
Yeah.
wish it was in the ring,
It could happen
but
at some point.
on a trampoline, I mean, still you can't. I still had fun, and maybe in a ring. We don't know.
Right? Uh, I would definitely say that feud was my favorite that I've seen you in so far as well. It kind of segues into my next question. Uh, I've talked to Dustin about it. I don't remember if we got it into the interview or not. But do you think there will be a potential reunion for Killer Instinct at some point down the line?
I mean, we'll see. I mean, there's there's a chance. I mean, there is that chance. We didn't get to do what we did in JHI. We wanted to be that dominant tag team,
Right?
but I mean, who knows? Maybe it'll happen again, and maybe we get to do it for the long run and just be that dominant team.
I know.
I mean, we've had conversations,
Mm-hmm.
We've even wanted to just do it in the Indies. We was talking about that. We said we could do a tag team in the Indies, and we talked about it. But you
Right.
just have to see.
Yeah. I know personally for me, there's a couple things I'd like to see Killer Instinct do if you guys ever did get back together. Um, one would be have that match against TOP at some point, Ricky and TJ. The other being one thing that you guys never did do when you were a tag team, and that was win the tag team titles, which are now a little more relevant in VTW than what they have been recently. A little bit. But
A little bit now.
I mean, back when you guys were in JHI, it was kind of hard for you to go after the tag team titles when, if I remember correctly, Joe and Diablo were technically the champions then, so.
And there wasn't really that many tag teams.
That's true. I'm hoping that that changes now that we've got tag team titles again in VTW, that we'll see emergences of more tag teams. It's something you don't see very often in many companies in backyard wrestling. There's a couple, but not many that have tag team wrestling that often.
And the people that are coming in now, it's gonna grow, and it's just now heating up, and it's gonna continue to heat up, and it's gonna be huge. And I really, I'm really looking forward to seeing what else they can do with the tag team.
Yeah, I would say so far, Ecstatic and Tyler have done a pretty decent job as tag team champions. I look forward to seeing how they perform against D'Lo and Mephisto here at Summer Blast coming up eventually. But they had a pretty decent match at Best in the Yard too. You can't take that away from them against AK-47 and the Bama Kid. A little longer than some people would have cared to have seen that match went, but
Hey, that's their forte, and they do what they do. They get the crowd, and if they get the crowd, they're doing their job. So
that's true.
can't 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 blame them.
Yeah. But I want to go back into Best in the Yard a little bit here. What was your experience like at this year's Best in the Yard compared to last year?
Oh man, it's so much different. So much. I was, first year, I was nervous. I didn't really want to talk. I mean, I was scared to talk because I didn't know nobody.
Right.
And growing up, I was a nervous. I wasn't really the talking type.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to my friends, but I wouldn't talk, random people. And then after that, after the first Best in the Yard, I talk to everybody now. I just talk, 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 talk. And
Right.
that helps me. That really did. That changed me.
Mm-hmm.
And now I love talking. And that first year, I was scared. I was nervous. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know nobody.
Right.
Uh, I didn't. It was funny because Chase was up there,
Mm-hmm.
and we didn't know we lived so close together.
Oh, nice.
And he had told us, and it was like, "What the heck? We could have rode up together, And that. But this year, I mean, so much more comfortable. I loved being there with all my friends and family.
Mm-hmm.
Talking, having a good time, and it was just a blast.
Sounds that way. Is there any match that you enjoyed in particular more than the rest during the show?
I, Kevin and Bryce, that was funny. I loved it. It
Mm-hmm.
was funny. I loved it. Comedy match. I loved it. Uh, Dustin and Chico, that was amazing. I mean, they were all amazing matches.
Right.
If I don't know, it's hard. It's hard.
I
Uh,
agree.
you know, Cam and Cage was great.
That was.
Mike and Rick, that was great. But it was it was such an emotional match.
Right.
I mean, it was, you could tell. Even the crowd, they were so emotional. Like they couldn't, like, what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and, if I had to pick one, oh, man, I'll be honest. I like Drew and Novan. That was a good match. I loved that match.
That was a very good
Uh,
match.
choke slamming Little Debbie. That was, oh God. And then tombstoning him on the outside. Like, come on.
All right.
Like, that's my cousin. Come on, Novan. And don't forget, I ain't forgot that. I'm after him too.
No,
So
that could be make
what
for
he
an
did to my
interesting
cousin,
match.
I got an eye on him. But that was a good match, and I would pick two because you know Dustin and the Chico was great too. So
Gotcha. Yeah. So I want your opinion on the main event. I've talked to a few people about it from Best in the Yard. What was your thinking about the main event? Did you think that Zach and Yankee should have been there, or do you think a different match should have been there?
I think that they earned that spot, and I think
I agree.
they deserve that. They had the build, they had the match.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't have put nothing like that build, the build for almost over a year. You
Right.
just can't like that. That has to be main event, and they went out there. They showed out. They deserve that. They're both great competitors, and you know they deserve that. You can't take that away from them.
I definitely agree with you on that. I just know there's quite a few people that claim that it shouldn't have been the main event. So I just curious
I
to
mean
find out what you guys
that's
say.
that's their opinion.
Right.
That's their opinion, and everybody has an opinion. But in my opinion, they deserve that.
Right.
If you build over a year, what else? You just gonna put it co-main? They needed that.
Yeah, I know a lot of people claim that Cage and Cam should have went on last, but to me, it's no offense to either one of those two guys, but they shouldn't have been main event. And when Cage is a part timer, pretty much, he only shows up every once in a blue moon in backyard wrestling now. So, but that was
And yeah, KBW. It's 100,000 subscribers.
mm-hmm.
It is what it is. But I mean, Cage and Cam. They're two. They're big names.
But there,
You can't take that away from them. But Cage coming back now. It's a whole different story.
right?
It's the game. The game's changed.
Yes.
It's not like what it is. It's the game's changed. There's so many more people
Yep.
that are talented and you know just like him. I mean
Right.
it's a tough game now.
Yeah. What was your opinion on the match that those two did have, Cam and Cage?
They put on a great match. You can't take that away from them. They're two of the biggest guys in backyard wrestling.
I agree.
You know they did what they're supposed to do. They
Yep.
go out there and you know go out there to steal the show. Uh, I mean, if that's what everybody else's job is to do, is go out there and steal the show. So they put
Yeah.
on a great match. So hats off to them.
They did, and when I first watched it, didn't really care for the finish to the match. Um,
Hey, the finish, that's well done. They did. They got That's what got people talking. When you
that's
get
true.
people talking, you done your job. So
Right, I was gonna say, but the more I thought about it afterwards, I was like, well, it made sense to do it that way for a couple different reasons. One being that if you have Cage actually beat Cam, then what's Cam got left to do? Pretty much either whether Cam gets beat or beats Cage, for that matter. It just was a lose-lose situation if one of them would have actually gotten a clean win over the other, in my opinion, in that match.
and I know that's what everybody wanted. They wanted to see a person win, but when you do that and double count out, and it got people buzzing. So
Yeah, people are wanting to see a rematch now, so they did their job. I would agree. Yeah, any other comments you want to say about Best in the Yard?
Uh, everyone did an amazing job. It's best in the yard. It's the best people in BYW, and and the next best in the yard is going to be even better. So just stay tuned because it. I mean, what else is to come?
Right. You never know who all is going to be there, and it gets bigger every year so far. So
You never know who's going to be there. You never know what kind of matches they're going to be. You don't know who's going to be facing who. It's going to be great. So
right. So we've seen a lot of your brethren from VTW traveling to New York recently uh, for one show that I don't really want to touch on that much, Crossover Crisis. But I do want to touch on the other show more so than that one, being King of the Yard. Have you gotten the chance to watch the King of the Yard tournament?
I did watch. I did watch a little bit of it. I watched bits and pieces. I watched some matches. I wish Don't get me wrong. I wish I could have been up there. I wish
Mm-hmm.
I'd have competed in it. They wanted me to, but I couldn't. I had other plans.
Right.
So I mean, they and I watched it. Cam winning it. That's great.
I agree.
That man earned it. He deserved it. He won. Hats off to that man. But everybody else in it, they did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I want to touch on one person in particular in that tournament that I thought did an amazing job. That was one AK-47. When you talk about AK, he hasn't been in backyard wrestling that much over the last few years. And he went out there and looked like he hadn't missed a beat, in my opinion, in that tournament.
Hey, that man can work. I mean, I watched him in KBW,
Right?
and man's a great talker, phenomenal performer, and me meeting him first time, great guy. Uh, hopefully he comes back and we see him again.
Yeah.
I want him to come back. I want him to compete. Maybe hopefully me and him can face. You never know.
Right? Yeah, I was just surprised. First round, beating Navan 3 times in a row rather quickly. First of all, but then he just had awesome matches after that in every round. Um, but yeah, the whole tournament, in my opinion, was a very well put together tournament from top to bottom. And I do toot my own horn a little bit. I did call the final four, the final two, and the winner, but
Hey, you done better than I could. I'd have been all over the place.
yeah. And in a way, I kind of would have liked to have seen at some point, whether it was the finals or not, would have liked to have seen Yankee and Zach again, but it is what it is. I was happy to see Cam and AK rather in the finals. So, do you think there is a possibility that we might see a Zach Daniels and Yankee match, or would you like to see that match again?
There's a good possibility. I mean, I don't think they're done yet. I think there's going to be one more. I don't think they're necessarily done. And when they do have one more, they're gonna put on a great show. So
Yeah,
hopefully there is one more. I'm definitely gonna be rooting for Yankee. Obviously, he's a Murder Club. So
right. Yeah, I mean, if they have one more match and it's anywhere as near as good as the one at Best in the Yard, then they'll definitely blow it out of the water, so as to speak. Is there a chance for you showing up, do you think, in any of these crossover events besides ones that are held in VTW anytime soon?
that's a question I've always asked myself. I've always asked that. I've always went over it in my head. There is a possibility. It's so hard. It's so hard for me to do two things at once. It
Right.
really is. I'm gonna be going probably college here soon. Uh, it's going to be tough, but hopefully, if it's close, if
Yeah.
it's close around here, in the southern part of where I live, then most definitely. I mean, I've seen a company in Georgia that's not too far. There's a company. I think there's another one in North Carolina, maybe. I'm not sure. And I've heard there's one in Florida. There's many possibilities. I'd love to, you know.
Nice. All right. So, next topic I want to touch on is: do you have any dream matches? Anybody specific that you'd like to face that you haven't faced yet in backyard wrestling?
Oh man. Uh,
Name me 3 people if you can.
man. Uh, like one on one. If I haven't faced them like one on one or just
Yeah,
anything.
one
One
on
on
one.
one. Okay. Okay. Uh, I'd have to say Novin be one. He'd
Okay.
have to be one.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I kind of want me versus Rick one on one.
Can see that.
I just one on one, just a one on one match.
Right.
And man, God, there's so many. Uh, I'd have to say, man, there's like 6,000 possibilities going through my head.
Right.
Uh,
You think this question's tough? Wait till the next one.
no, I know. Oh God, I'm trying. I'm like trying to think. I know I've faced pretty much everybody in VTW, so
Right. Other than the new
uh,
breed, but
yeah, other than the new breed, but I'm trying to think over. God, I'd like to face Mike out of retirement. I would have liked to face Mike before he retired.
that's honestly one person that I get from just about everybody I've interviewed, so that doesn't surprise me one bit. And I don't blame you one bit for picking Mike either. So, alright. Those are some dream matches I think would be awesome to see. Um, like I said, the next question might be a little bit tougher for you. That one being an elimination chamber scenario.
Uh-oh.
I'm putting you in.
Alrighty, here we go. Elimination Chamber.
Yep. Putting you in there, and I want you to pick 5 other backyard wrestlers, whether retired or not, to be in that match.
5. All
5
right.
guys.
Dustin would be one.
Of course.
Cameron Jackson. Uh, uh, I put Dirty to Chico in there. Let me think. Man, I got 2 more.
Yep.
Yep. Uh, Chase. I'd put Chase in there.
Okay.
And the 5th one. I put Yankee in there.
Alright. So out of Dustin Reagan, Cameron Jackson, Dirty DeChico, Chase Bridges, and Yankee, who would you say would be the last person you would eliminate? It would come down to you and him, and you won the match.
That would be funny and do Yankee, but I'm not going to. I would have to say Cameron Jackson.
Okay. So you've won the match now. That puts you, say, in a main event at Best in the Yard. Who would you be facing in that main event for which championship? And they don't have to be a current champion.
Oh man, I'd have. It's a no brainer. I have to put my brother in there. I got to put Dust in there. That's what we've always wanted. So
Okay. Soon would be for the VTW World Title.
yep, it's got to be.
All right. So I'm assuming that we're going to be seeing D-Lock here on an upcoming Vindication since you're back from vacation now. What plans do you have going forward here in VTW for the rest of this year?
My plans, well, is keep defending my YouTube title. I don't plan on losing it. And then when I get tired of beating everybody, I vacate it and go after the world title. That's one thing I want. That's one thing I really want. I don't think I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna keep rolling, and
Right.
there's so many opportunities, and I can't wait. I can't wait what the future holds for me.
Okay. Fair enough point for that. Let's take it past the rest of this year. What is your future? Do you think? Do you have a future when it comes to wrestling past this year?
Oh man,
Any pro aspirations, perhaps?
that is probably the toughest question I'll ever get asked, because honestly, I don't know how much longer I'll be able to do it. It's there's been some times where it's like, oh God, it could end, in a blink of an eye, or it could end in a couple months or a couple years,
Right.
or I just keep going and it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
It's been a question going through my head a bunch. In my eyes, I've always pursued my first sport I always played was baseball. I always pursued that. Um, I always loved being able to do both. And if one doesn't go, I can always follow up to the other. It's like if wrestling
Right.
doesn't work out, I can always go to baseball. Baseball doesn't work out, I can just go right back to the other one. It's endless possibilities. But if there was just a little chance, I wish I could do both. I wish I could go professional for wrestling and professional for baseball, but that's like impossible. But
Right.
it. You never know. I mean, I love doing it. I love, and people saying, people tell me, you can go professional. Just you keep
Mhm.
doing what you're doing, and
Mhm.
it's something that's crossed my mind 100,000 times. It crosses my mind almost every day. But there's just there's no telling. It's what it's basically what God tells me to do. That's what you know. It's the toughest decision I'll ever make in my life. So who
Gotcha.
knows? It's just a guessing game.
Right. Which, in a way, it has to be for pretty much anybody that wrestles, whether it be backyard or pro, because you never know when anything could happen where you might have to have your last match tomorrow, pretty much. So, that's a fair point. Um, as we're heading out here in a few minutes, is there anything you want to say to Chase Bridges or anybody else in the VTW locker room that you might be facing somewhere down the line?
tell you what, Chase Bridges better watch his back because I will never forget what he did to poor little Toaster. Uh, I will be paying him a visit, and he may not know when, but I will be paying him a visit. You have my word on that.
Okay.
And it's not going to be pretty.
I can believe that. Now, anything to say to anybody else that might think that they have a chance of taking that YouTube title off of you anytime in the near future?
Bring it on. I love collecting each and every person who gets in my way. It's just another bounty after another bounty. It's what I do. You bring them up, you put it on their head, I'm going to take it.
You may or may not want to answer this, but what is with the bounties? Who's putting these bounties out, if you don't mind me asking? Is it one specific person, or is it several people?
This is top secret information. I can never tell. But when the time comes, maybe I will tell. You never know. Uh, I'm just, I'm the outlaw. I do what I need to do. It's just, it's in my nature. It's what I do. Who knows? Maybe I'm the one putting them on. You never know. But you just have to find out for yourself.
Fair enough. Any last words that you want to get out there before we close out the show?
Uh, Make sure to stay tuned to VTW. New content coming real soon. Keep watching. It's gonna get better and better. We don't stop getting better. Uh, watch all the other ones as well. Watch BW. Watch all the new companies. I can't think of them right away, but I know. I'm gonna look it up right now before I say something.
Go for it.
I don't want to mess it up. But watch all the new ones. Watch all of them you can find. You're gonna be surprised what.
Watch WTW that Jackson Hendricks is from.
Yes, watch WTW.
Watch Proving
Uh,
Grounds.
yep, Proving Grounds. There's a many of them. Just watch them. I'm trying to think of this one though. If I can find it, I don't want to mess their name up. ICW. There's one. That's one I watch them. They have great performers. You need to watch them too. And the final one, if I can find it, if I'm not retarded, I'm gonna find it before I get done with this.
Yep.
I'm telling you.
You're good, dude.
Alrighty, where are you? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? BWA. There you go. Make sure y'all watch them because they are very. I just started watching them. Very, very, very talented kids down there. Very talented.
All right. It's a couple new companies I would possibly have to catch. I haven't seen those guys yet. I haven't heard of them before, especially that last one, but give them a check sometime when I got a chance to. But yeah, just do whatever you can, pretty much just support backyard wrestling, is what I would put out there.
Yes.
Not just pro wrestling, but backyard wrestling as well. As I try to do, obviously, with this podcast and everything else on Twitter. So, but if that is all, then I guess we'll close out for today. I want to thank you again, D-Lock, for being a guest on Tiger Talks Wrestling.
And thank you for having me, Tony. I really appreciate it.
Not a problem. And thank you guys for watching. This has been Tiger Talks Wrestling. We will catch you next time. Bye.